Welcome back to another Talkers on the Wall video. We are straight out of the theater from Nosferatu.
We are traumatized.
Jesus Christ. Major
Holy.
Spoiler warning if you're checking out this video thinking of it's a spoiler-free review.
We're going to be deep diving into a lot of the scenes, I think, and the emotions that those scenes brought on.
Jeez. So, honestly, just to start this off, I'm going to count this more as just a first thoughts over a review.
Yeah.
Because right now, the only thing I'm
still digesting.
I'm still uncomfy.
Yeah.
It felt like reading the Eclipse. It felt like watching Last Duel.
Yeah, holy fuck, dude. Like, I want to get it out of the way right now. This might be, as of right now at least, one of my favorite horror movies, maybe my very favorite horror movie. I love the Dracula story, this is like a riff on. And like vampires as a concept are very cool, but like mainly the atmosphere, the dialogue, and just the pacing of this movie were phenomenal. Just to get that out there, I'm giving this probably a 9 out of 10. This was really good movie.
It might be might be a TBD for me, to be determined on how it ranks, but I would definitely give it the 8 to 9s as well. Sorry if you hear the heat. We are literally, we don't got a studio just yet.
Yeah,
maybe you guys would fucking subscribe. But with that being said, let's just start from, I guess, are there really any cons for this movie for you?
No, I mean, nothing that everything it meant to do, which was make me feel uncomfortable, succeeded. Yeah. So, that's not a con really, but trying to think of any cons. No, I mean,
I would, not to interrupt you.
You're good.
I would just say one con, really just one scene is like a sex scene between Tom and Elena.
Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen. But when she's half possessed, I just felt like that was kind of unnecessary shock value. But it makes sense. But
I got it. The con, I understood the scene. The scene made sense. I guess the only thing that didn't make sense, I don't know, when you're going through that scene, she's being, crazy, and, they're fucking yelling at each other, and she starts fucking, drooling from her mouth and doing this
weird, she literally is folded up like a spider right now, and it is not pleasant.
No.
It does not get my...
he has, his face goes from horrified to... he's ready to fucking, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And, if that was me, I'm not touching that woman for a month, maybe never seeing her ever again. Holy shit. But, I think the scene was, trying to evoke a very particular emotion, and it fucking succeeded on that.
So, I will say, I'd say your favorite part about this movie is the atmosphere, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So,
for sure.
Same here. I don't think there was a moment in the movie where, granted, there's maybe, if I the whole runtime, I don't know how long the movie is, 2.5.
I think it was 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's 9, 10 though.
Yeah, so at least out of a 2-hour movie, there's probably about 10 minutes where I felt comfortable.
Yeah, no, just the beginning.
Not even the beginning. Because literally the first scene off.
Oh rip, yeah, that's true.
It's when they first
her first terror.
Orlok and first it was.
Yeah.
And that beginning is so mysterious, too.
True.
What?
Yeah.
What led up to that point?
No, that's true. I would say, between, the opening scene, so, basically, when it's just Tom trying to get to Orlok, it's not even, that whole time. It's mainly just Tom getting the news to go see Orlok. That's the only time it's comfortable, because after that, it, jumps to this, satanic ritual, which is super weird, too. So yeah, not a lot of downtime in the movie, which I will say for sure. Another great thing after the atmosphere was the pacing. There was no downtime. Every scene contributed something, which I liked.
Yes. Just one tiny nitpick. There was times when Orlok was speaking.
Yeah.
I wish they added some subtitles.
Oh yeah.
To where at least because they had him in before.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it could have been needed, to understand what he's saying and all that. As far as I'm not the best listener sometimes, so right. If I could read the subtext.
And I think everybody is pretty used to having subtitles on at home too. So especially because Orlok's got such a thick accent.
Yeah.
it's definitely hard to understand what he's saying too. And like the score isn't like super loud, but I could definitely see where you're coming from with that for sure.
Like it doesn't knock it down like any points. It's just something I wish to have. I mean, when I watch this, when it goes like streaming or like DVD, yada yada, I'll definitely be able just to turn them on. But oh my lord, like if you love Resident Evil, if you love like just like honestly, the way I would describe this, if you're into like ancient like mythology, if you're into Resident Evil, if you're into like honestly like creepypastas,
creepypastas, if you read any of like the gothic horror novels, Frankenstein, Dracula, any of those, like this movie is like I think I mentioned it earlier, but it is almost a 1-for-1 comparison to like Dracula, which the Nosferatu story is based off of. But like the beats are so similar, like they definitely have a few like plot changes, but like I think this is probably the closest we'll ever get to like a really good adaptation of Dracula. So if you love the book Dracula, you'll definitely want to watch this like movie.
And what I would just say, what to really expect if you're thinking like of Dracula's obsessed with this girl. No, it's primal lust. Like if like honestly, if like SA is like you can't like watch it at all, like it's like literally like a deal breaker for you, do not watch this movie because it's gonna like I'm still uncomfy watching like it delivers what it's promising.
Like in the movie too, Orlok has a line where he says he doesn't know love, all he knows is appetite. And like that's literally just his relationship with like the main woman that he is trying to essentially possess. So so definitely lots of like sexual SA undertones, like especially for the main like female lead. And yeah, it's just kind of like very prevalent throughout the movie, I would say, honestly. Almost could be like an allegory for it. But yeah, it is honestly like I don't know even where to go, honestly. Like what I don't even know. Like, is there anything you wish they had added to the movie? Like anything you thought it was missing?
You know, I'm trying to like we are literally 5 minutes away from the theater.
Yeah.
We're still in the theater parking lot. Let's see.
I know one thing I can comment on that I liked is that the main woman, kind of what they did with her, spoiler alert, is like it's like Victorian time, so it's not like super modern, but it's like semi-modern. And basically what they've done is like they've made the main female, she's kind of like, they kind of draw a comparison to it in the movie. They said that like back in the day, if like she'd been born in ancient times, she would have been like a high priestess and very strong with like the old magics and stuff like that. But in this modern time, she just isn't, because, you know, like there's no more magic in the world. Which I thought was a very interesting, like, take on the character, rather than someone just being, like, a victim to this, like, magical force. In the movie, it kind of says that she is actually the one who called out to it with her, you know, innate, you know, magic, I guess. I hate to use the word magic because it makes it seem like a lot more
sci-fi
than it is. Yeah, a lot more fantasy than the movie is. But, like, she calls out to the being, awakens it, and it comes to her, you know, and, like in the movie it says, like, you know, maybe back in the day she would have had dominion over it, but, you know, in these modern times, you know, it's just going free roam on her. But so I really like that aspect to the character, that, like, you know, she's just like essentially an old soul in like a modern world, and, you know, she doesn't know what to do with it. But very interesting for sure. It definitely makes it much better than just like a damsel who's being like targeted by this like creature.
And it's really cool, like, how, as far as, like, I mean, she basically is a victim.
She's still, like, a victim, but she's not just a victim.
I agree. And it's really cool that, like, even though she's the victim, she has to take the power, you know? It's, like you said, like, she would have been, like, a high priest, and that would have been, like, great for her. But as far as just, like, her, like, having to, like, save the day, and it like, if you're looking for like a, oh my god, they got him, hell yeah, you're
high five.
You're not gonna get this. It's bittersweet as can be. I know it's a spoiler, but I don't want to go into super in-depth stuff. There is a spoiler.
Leave the ending for sure. But yeah, like like you said, she is definitely still the victim of the story. But like she kind of like takes control there at the end for sure, and so that is always nice to see too in stories like these. And I guess another thing is that like I want to like put in favor of the movie is that it didn't rely on like jump scaring at all. I don't think there was like really any like I think there might have been one at the very beginning, but otherwise it was just really atmosphere and just like
cinematography.
The cinematography,
oh my God, was
like
on point.
A growing unease in every scene, but like they didn't rely on like loud noises. Yeah, like nothing like that. There might have been like
the music wasn't like that prevalent. It was just
like blah, blah. No, it was like
I feel like when they're creating this film, they're straight up like, okay, we're not gonna rely on music. We're not gonna rely on jump scares. We're not gonna rely on CGI. It's literally.
That was another thing too. Practical effects in this movie were great.
Like, what can we do to like just solely rely on these like cinematographers that can just straight up just show out and show what they're paid to do?
True.
And they all balled out. Like it was fantastic. Like, you know, I was very impressed, and that's what made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. Just great. And that was another thing too that you just touched on. Like they didn't really use any CGI, I don't think, for the most part. All the effects, as far as I could tell, were very practical. The makeup for Count Orlok was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even tell who the actor was underneath of it. But they did great. Like he looked so disgusting and like so repulsive in the light. It was perfect. There's like, we're still kind of processing it, so I'm trying to think of things to say.
So, I would say we could probably cut it a little bit from now, and what we could do in the future too, like especially like when it gets
just a revisiting.
Just to revisit it, you know, like just give like this could be like a first thoughts, and then the next one could be a review. We're probably just gonna call this one a review.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't got more to say on it.
No, I think like the little bits they added with like the villagers and like the church with Tom were pretty cool too. Really built the world up for me. But yeah, I think just everything they did was. I loved the character of Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, I mean, just great actor, great character in this movie. One thing though, I'll say there is one character, Harding, like. They do use that trope where, like, no matter how much the dude sees or hears, he just will not believe the supernatural forces at work. Yeah. So that might be, like, a con, but, I mean, for the story, it works. But other than that, no, I don't have much to say.
I'd also say Orlok using, like, a plague.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. Such a cool, like, what's the word? I guess ultimatum that he gives... Ellen.
Yeah. I also like that usually for like vampires, like his motif is bats, but in this one it really seemed it was more like rats. Yeah. To emphasize that plague that he was bringing, which I thought was cool too.
And what they do that's really cool as well is that they really show like tropes of like a Dracula story, but it's so subtle. They don't shove it in your face like in the beginning where like it's like Thomas arrives in this village and they're doing like garlic like on top, like as like a part of like a religious like preach, I guess. They're like blessing someone with garlic, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then like they talk about like they eventually find out that like, hey, we have to take care of like where he ends up like sleeping, like a casket and like iron stakes, but like you won't be like, oh come on, that's cheesy,
right? No, it's handled all very well too. I'm trying to think here. I had something I was gonna say, but it's gonna slip my mind. But start to finish had you kind of on the edge of your seat. It's just one of those horror movies that makes you unsettled and one that keeps you thinking about it, I think. Like, you'll definitely be thinking about this movie for a little while after it ends.
Oh, for sure. As far as, like, thriller horror movie, I guess not to like power scale, but I'd definitely take this over Alien Romulus.
Oh yeah, they're so different, but yeah, for sure. I think I would rewatch this movie before I rewatched Aliens Romulus.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you think this movie is planetary? No.
Jesus Christ.
Because you're talking about power scaling.
Yeah. That's where we're gonna end it, folks. No.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Do you have anything else to add, though?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, just the more I think about it, the more, I can't help but, like, really gush about the characters, too. Like, Tom, he wasn't just, like, a stupid, dumb, dude main character. Yeah. He was actually kind of doing his best to put in work. Willem Dafoe was great. The Dr. Siwa,
I like them.
Yeah, I don't know who that actor is. I know he's in a lot of Robert Eggers' work.
He reminded me of, like, Professor Snape from Harry Potter.
Oh, another thing I was going to say, too, is that if anybody's, like, a film buff out there and they're, like, really into, like, the first, like, Nosferatu movie, this is definitely, like, a remake of that. I just watched a video about the original, and it does have the very similar, like, story beats. Like, all the characters are there from the original, and, like, the ending from the original is the same ending to this one. Which I thought was really cool. And yeah, so if you're a fan of that old Nosferatu movie and you're a fan of like the Dracula book, Robert Eggers combines them in such like a flawless way that it'll just leave you nothing but satisfied. Like there wasn't anything that I would have been like I nitpicked out of, because for one thing, it's not a direct adaptation of Dracula, so you can't like just regard it as that. And as far as remakes go, I mean, the old movie is like basically destroyed in a silent black and white film, so anything he did with it was an improvement. I can't. Yeah, just that's all I got. Really.
I mean, I think that's where we're gonna end it there. So that does conclude this interview of Nosferatu. Both very pleased with it in a very unsettling way. It definitely did the job.
Yeah.
So anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and you all have a good one.
Yep.